Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Angela Bosley. I'm a Canadian citizen, but I'm also a permanent resident of Nigeria. Now, today we're going to discuss the document checklist for a temporary resident visa for Canada. And so take a moment and let's go through this together. This document checklist is one of the forms that you will need to submit with your application. So make sure when you go through it, you have everything that pertains to you on the list. Consult the instruction guide, which is the IMM 5256, to find out if you required to provide some or all of the forms and documents listed in this checklist. If your documents are in a language other than English or French, check with the responsible visa office for your region to determine whether they need to be translated or not. Okay? If any of the required documents listed below are missing, the processing of your application could be delayed. Okay? Gather your documents in order of the checklist and check each item. Okay, so let's go through this list. Okay? Now you're acknowledging that you have enclosed anything that you check off, you're acknowledging that you have included in your application. Okay, so it's easier if you have this on your computer. You can just check it off as you go. So the first thing is the application for temporary resident visa, the IMM 5257. If this application form is completed on your computer, it must be validated to generate a barcode. Print and place the barcode page, and there's 5 pages altogether, on the top of your application, or if you're applying as a group, each individual package. Okay, so each one of those people will have this on top of their application. The next is the family information form. Must be completed by those age 18 years or older. You must complete the family information form, the IIM 5707, listed in the application package for your region. Okay. Now, if you are in a relationship but you're not married, you will need one of these forms, which is the Statutory Declaration of Common Law Union, the IMM 5409. Okay, so refer to the responsible visa office for your region. Okay, now the next one is you check it off if you have someone who is going to be representing you. You need to give that person consent. So the use of a representative, the IMM 5476. And note, complete this form only if you use the services of a representative. So if you have hired an agent to represent you, or a relative or whoever that you are appointing must have one of these declarations, one of these, not declarations, but one of these forms filled out. Or if you are appointing or canceling a representative. Okay. Now the next one is to authorize the authority to release personal information to a designated individual, the IMM 5475. Now, you complete this form only if you authorize authorize Citizenship and Immigration Canada and the Canada Border Services Agency to release information from your case file to someone other than yourself. So if there's anyone else that you want to have authority to get information on your file, like a spouse or some sort of relative, a friend, whomever it may be, they cannot do anything to release your information unless one of these forms are filled out. So it's very, very important to know how you want to have your application handled. Okay, so those are the most of the forms that are on the immigration website that you will need to download and have filled out as part of your application. Now, when we go down further, we're talking about documents that you need to provide to show your eligibility to apply for a visa. So let's go through that list. So this document list is, the fee payment in an acceptable format. Please ensure to include the application processing fee and, if applicable, the biometrics fee. Verify acceptable method of payment with the visa office or the visa application center, which is the VAC center, responsible for your region. Now, what I encourage people to do is to apply online. And when you apply online through your account, you will be able to pay online as well. Not necessarily to a visa office or an application center. Everything you can do online when you submit your application, that is also an option for you. Okay? A photocopy of the information page of a valid passport or travel document, which includes your passport number, okay, the issuance and expiry dates, your photo, name, date, and place of birth, okay. Note there must be one completely blank page other than the last page available in each passport. Refer to the responsible visa office of your region. Okay, so make sure if you've traveled a lot and you don't have much room left in your passport, you may need to get another passport. But make sure at least one clear page is blank in your passport. You're going to need 2 photos meeting the requirements of the visa application the photograph, photograph specifications. On the back of 2 photos, you write your name and date of birth. Typically, those who are experienced with the Canadian process will automatically stamp the back of the photos, and then you just need to fill in those areas. So make sure when you get your photos to find someone who's very familiar with the Canadian process and has that stamp handy. And I know there are places that do it. Especially I lived in Nigeria, so I know there's photos that can be done close to the embassy if you want that specific photo. But I do encourage it because it saves a lot of trouble. Okay, if you are required to provide a biometric fingerprints and photo, you are not required to include paper photos for your application. Okay, proof of financial support, you must include proof that you can support yourself and any family members accompanying you while you are in Canada. Okay, so again, that goes down to the next one. We just spoke of it here. Proof of financial support, you must include the support of you and the accompanying people in Canada. And typically, as a basis, $150 Canadian per day per person in your family is required to be on your statement of account. So just you need to factor it in how many days you're going to be there. $150 per person times how many days. That should be about how much should be on your statement of account minimum. Okay. A photocopy of your marriage license or certificate. Okay, you may refer to their responsible visa office of your region. Okay, now here's one, the purpose of your travel. Now, I always encourage people when I have worked with them to make sure that you know why you're going, because they're going to want to know. They're going to want to know why you're going. Okay, and they're going to want to have it outlined, play by play, an itinerary of what you're doing. They want to know that you've really thought out your vacation or whatever the case may be. A photocopy of your current immigration status, which if your country of residence is different from where the country of citizenship listed on your passport, you must provide proof of legal status in your country of residence. So your passport, your ID card, anything like that, should it be different from where you are? Definitely you need to provide that, okay? Minors traveling alone or with one adult must provide custody documents, okay? Or a letter of authorization from the other non-accompanying parent, or a letter of authorization signed by both parents or legal guardians. This is very, very, very important when you are a single parent going with a minor child. Okay, they will ask for your paperwork at the port of entry. You don't have it, you're not going into the country. Okay, very, very important that you have your documentation for your children that you're going with. Okay, any additional documents required by the responsible visa office. Now, this is just a guideline. Now, because I am very familiar with Nigeria, there is another checklist that is required for the application of a temporary visit visa. Okay, resident permit, resident visa, however you want to say it. Now, I have that here. Now, you can download it off of the website. Now, this is for the temporary resident visa checklist from the Lagos office. Okay, these are the instructions that you need to follow, and you need to really, because there are different documents here that they are requiring. Okay, so we will quickly go through that. Also placed on top of your application. Okay, you must submit the following 2 photographs. Okay, 2 photographs once. Write the name and birth date of the individual on the back. Okay, original passport for yourself and each family member. Now, some of this is repetitious, but it's always good to do an overview. Okay, so we've discussed that. Now, a consent to verify, delete. The consent to verification of documents form. This is one form that you sign that is sent with the application because they want your permission to verify your documents. It's that simple. So be very, very careful when you submit your documents that there's nothing fraudulent that is verifiable because you are giving their consent. If you don't give their consent, they may reconsider your application. So it's very important that you get this, you sign it, and then you're okay. Now, the family information form, the IMM 5707, fully completed, dated, and signed. Complete. Now, this is different. You need to complete and sign the Schedule 1 form, which is an additional to your application for temporary resident visa, the IMM 5257B. Okay, they almost go together. It's going to be very similar, but it needs to be part of your application. Now, you need to explain the purpose of your visit. Details of your itinerary. We discussed that a little earlier because this is, again, a little repetitious, but this is more detailed. You need to let them know when you're arriving, what you're going to be doing, who are you going to be with, etc., etc. Indicate the length of your stay, the destination, and contacts, people who you are going to be seeing, visiting. If you're going for a concert, you need to have that part of your itinerary. And you also must provide a provisional airline booking. Now what this is you can contact ticket agents, and they can do a temporary, it's just like a visual thing that you have thought about when you are going to be traveling. It's going to cost you a token of money to get this, but you're not paying for the flight. Okay, a lot of people don't understand what this is, the provisional airline booking. Now, there's services online that you can definitely tap into. So just be aware there is going to be a small fee for that because they are like holding a booking for you. Okay, now if you're going to Canada, they want to see that you've been invited from a person or business you will visit, stating visit date, duration, purpose, and contact information. Information related to the immigration status of the host in Canada is voluntary. Okay, you cannot pay for an invitation, is basically what they're saying. Okay, people do it. I don't advise it because it holds that person responsible who is giving the invitation. So make sure it's voluntary. Okay, should the host volunteer this information, they may provide a copy of their landing documents, their citizenship certificate, or Canadian passport biodata page. Now, definitely you're going to do this with someone that definitely wants you to come and visit. It is very, very beneficial for you to have that attached with the letter. Okay, the page with their name, photo, place of birth, date of issue, etc. That is the biodata page. It's the first or second page in your passport. The study permit or work permit or permanent resident card. Any of those are eligible to write you an invitation. Okay. Now, this is a nice bonus. If you have traveled to Canada in the last 10 years or currently hold a valid U.S. non-immigrant visa and can provide proof, entry stamps and passport, proof of the valid visa, no proof of financial support is needed. Okay? For all others, provide proof of financial support to cover the expenses for the duration of your visit. So yeah, if you have a U.S. visa and it's valid still, you don't need to provide the proof of support, the financial support. So that is definitely something to consider. Okay, those who have traveled to the U.S. and want to go to Canada. Okay, copies of bank statements covering the past 3 months. Again, I encourage you not to fake any documents. Do not submit any fake documents. I know anything is possible, especially when I stayed in Nigeria, anything is possible for a price. Don't do it. Please don't do it. I don't encourage it at all because the repercussions of those decisions can be very, very devastating. That's for sure. Now, other ways that you can prove your financial stability or support is employment letter. Get your employer to write you a letter, pay slips, proof of pension, business registration, investments, your landed property, anything that shows that you have some sort of way to access money if you need. Okay, if you are not paying for your own trip, provide a letter signed by the person paying and a photocopy of their passport or other official identification with photo and a bank certificate proving that they have sufficient funds. Describe how the person is related to you. These documents must be dated within 3 months of the date of which the application was submitted. Very, very important, okay? If you're not paying for it, you need to provide proof that you have access to funds, okay? Now, if you're going for a seminar, trade show, even conferences, invitations, registration, and hotel confirmation, please make sure when you sign up to these conferences that they can give you an invitation letter. It's very, very helpful and useful for when you are trying to explain what your itinerary is like in the US, or sorry, in Canada. Okay. Now, if applicable, now this may not pertain to you, but definitely if it does, you need to submit, okay, for business travel. A letter from your employer indicating the purpose of your travel, your itinerary within Canada, and who will cover the cost of your travel. A letter from a Canadian business confirming duration, so the visit dates and the nature of your business. Okay, very important. They need to be able to cross-reference to show that, yes, in fact, you're going for business. Okay, proof of business if you are self-employed. Provide business registration, tax clearance certificates, trade certificates, license, and financial documents, etc. Certified business bank account statements for past 6 months. When you are applying through a business, they want to see that, yeah, things are really active. You know, you have a nice flowing account for the last 6 months, okay? Then you should be providing proof of employment, letter from your current employer, and pay slips for at least 3 months. Employment letter dated within 2 months of the application, indicating occupation, job description, position, salary, allowances, years of employment, and authorized leave dates. Okay, very, very important. You don't miss any of these details when it comes to your proof of employment. Now, I know some people will give their appointment letter, all of that to prove that, but they would need it within 2 months of your application, so don't forget that. Okay, now proof of current studies. Now, if you're a student, you need an official document confirming your registration as a student at an academic institution. Okay, now marriage certificate and birth certificates for each family member, whether they are or not requesting a visa. So if they're on your application, provide proof. If you're married, provide that marriage certificate. If you have children, definitely provide that with your spouse and yourself. Everyone needs you need all that information. So it comes about planning. If you don't have those certificates or what have you, please get them registered and put them into your application. Okay, now if you're traveling with children, they must have their own passport. They must also have a school leave letter, if applicable, if they are in school. You can go to the school, you can talk to them, whoever, secretary, whoever's in the office, and ask them to provide a letter on letterhead and signed. Okay, now if the children are traveling alone, and we did discuss that earlier, a letter of consent signed by the non-accompanying parent, copy of their photo ID with signatures from the non-accompanying parent, and the child's birth certificate. Very, very important. We're going to stop there because the rest is not pertaining to family. It's more towards the grandparents and stuff. So now, please, if you found this information very helpful, please definitely don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Give us the thumbs up that you enjoyed the video and that it was very, very informative for you. Send it to your friends and family who can really utilize this information. And don't forget to leave your comments. If you have any questions pertaining to this, definitely leave your comments. I'm even going to leave the important links to find these documents inside the description area of my YouTube channel. Sorry, when I post this video in the description area, I will leave some very important information for you. And I will also leave contact information for you to contact me personally if you need be. But anyway, that is it for today. Enjoy and start planning your travel to Canada, and we will see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.